Hi, my name is Mary Field, and I'm a professional networker. And I'm going to share with you my experience, I would say, and what I feel it's taken for me to become successful in network marketing. I've been in network marketing for just over 20 years now, and I've only been with three companies. My first company was in 1992, a company called Enrich International, which is now called Unicity, and it was my first experience. Somebody told me about a product for weight loss with ephedra in it, and the company focused on that product, and it went like crazy. It really, really did. And I told anybody that came close to me about this fabulous product, what energy you got from it, and all the benefits of the product. And it grew and grew and grew. And I never had a computer in those days. There was no social media. I had a fax machine and a phone, and I remember being on that fax machine in my office basement from probably 7 o'clock in the morning till 11 o'clock at night in the beginning, and I worked hard. And I didn't want to go work for somebody else. I wanted to be able to have the freedom to do things with Walter, and we'd only been married not much more than a year, and so I wanted us to have the freedom to do things. And how was that going to happen? It wasn't going to happen with a 9-to-5 job. And so Walter did some specialty advertising business while we tried to get this going, and we shared a house with my daughter and her husband in those days, and we had Walter's son living with us, who was a teenager, and life was hard. It was difficult, but I felt we were going to make this happen. It was going to be fun. And so I would stay on that fax machine and fax and fax and fax anybody I had a fax number for. I would look up, find faxes. I was one of those fax spammers, you might say. But then people started spamming me. I remember pages and pages coming through, in the middle of the night and using up all my paper. And it was a crazy time. And then I would get on the phone and phone anybody and everybody I could. I would look for old business cards and contacts I had, and then one day I put an ad in the paper for our business. I can't remember what the ad said, but I lived in Richmond, BC, and I acquired this very high Asian population, and I acquired this Asian couple who came over to my house on a Friday night with their two little boys, and they were there for 3 or 4 hours, and I had a page and pages of questions that they wanted to know about, and the little boys were so good. They stayed in that living room for probably 3 hours with some paper and a pencil, and just drew, and I felt badly for them, but their parents were driven. So anyway, they signed up with me, and my business grew, and I had the largest Asian group in the company, but the company wasn't ready for prime time. They didn't have any translating for those people. They weren't ready to expand to Asia. I'm sure after I left the company 5 years later that they had it together, and I know they have, and they've expanded to those countries. So about 1999, I guess it was, about 1998, I was really getting disheartening with the company and my income. And my income had gone up to, with about 2,000 people in a couple of years, to about 7,000 a month. And that may not sound like a lot in today's big picture, but it was a lot to me at that time, and I was thrilled. And so after about 4 or 5 years, it started, they lost that product through regulations with ephedra and whatnot. And so my income went down, down, and it was down. By the time I left it, it was $1,500, and it was so disheartening to leave that because I poured my heart and soul into it, and it was like a marriage. It was a sad time, but it was time to move on. I had to move, and opportunity came across my table, and I went to the States to look at a company with Walter, and that company today is a business I work with very strongly, and I love it, and it's been a blessing for us. And when I started that company in 1999, they had a customer acquisition program, and I had 1,200 customers in no time, I might say. And then in the beginning, they gave us customers to test the program, and after they got it launched and figured out, we started to buy the customers, and they were $20 a customer in those days. And so Walter and I had to take a stopgap between those two companies because I gave up my income with the other one. So we had to bring in some money while I was building this business. So we worked for a few .com companies, there was a dot-com surge at that point. So there was lots of companies looking for employees to sell, to work with them. And so Walter and I went for a few of them. We had some great times and learned some stuff. Actually, it was really cool. And then the last one we were with was hcareers.com. It was like Monster, and so we were inside with a headset on, phoning all over the U.S. looking for. We phoned the big hotel chains in the hospitality industry and trying to get them to post their jobs on our site with H Careers, and that was our job. Well, after about 6 months, and Walter worked in the office too, and a couple of our friends, and it was fun. But then the fun became tedious, and the politics and the grind, and I had enough. And so I remember phoning Walter in the office and saying, I'm out of here, I'm done. Friday afternoon, I remember it explicitly. I said, I'm going home, I'm 57 years old, I'm not going to get ahead, I'm not going to have a retirement income sitting at this desk for these people. So I went out to TELUS, our phone company, bought a headset, went home and started doing what I was doing there for myself. Opened up my computer and started cold calling. And the first company I focused on was a company called Lexus International, and I started phoning different people and asking them how their business was. I noticed there was a certain company. How's your business going? How do you get your customers? How do you keep in touch with them? Things like that. My questions that I asked were appropriate to where I wanted to take them. So if I asked them how many, how they got their customers, they might say, well, whatever they said. Well, I said, well, you know what? After I talked and built, a little bit of relationship with them, I would say, well, we have a program that is second to none, and this is how it works. The company does infomercials, and, we acquire the customers, and blah, blah, blah. So I found after a few 4 months of struggling and using credit cards to live on, and we were renting a 1,000-square-foot condo. We had leased cars. We didn't have anything to call our own, really, and very, very little in retirement funds. So I acquired a fellow that was interested in what we had. It was timing. Him and his team were looking to make a change, to go somewhere. And so after a couple of days of losing sleep and worrying, and I thought, oh, I've got to get this fellow. I just have a feeling. He joined me. Now, that was the first day of the rest of my life, I'm going to tell you. Okay. So in a few months, we went from 1,200 customers to 40,000 customers. Okay. 12 years later, we have 106,000 customers and members in that business. It's been an absolute blessing, a wonderful company, never a check late. It's been incredible. And we still have people that work very hard, and the company's always coming with new products. They just merged with a big company recently, so that's created a lot of momentum, and it's been wonderful. Okay. But I needed something to send thank you cards. I couldn't handwrite them. Now I'm 62 years old writing these cards. I couldn't write all these cards. I had 3,000 people to send cards to every month, and it's too hard to do and too cumbersome. And so Diane Walker, 2004, I think it was, late 2004, sent me a greeting card. Well, I wasn't open to being encouraged or even look at anything else. So I kind of put it away and put it on my desk and kind of ignored it. And I'm a little stubborn sometimes. And so after about 2 weeks, I picked up the card. I looked at it sitting there on my desk, and I picked it up, and I looked at it, and I thought, what is this? So I phoned Diane, and I said, Diane, how does this card work? So she took me online like we do and showed me the system, walked me through, and I loved it. I thought, this is perfect. So she did share the opportunity, of course, and I joined immediately. I saw the genius in it. I saw, this is fabulous. Who wouldn't use this? It cost me $699 in those days, by the way, to join. And that didn't matter to me. I was doing this. This was the best. And so I've never looked back. Today, my Sendle Card business has grown and grown and grown, and I work it every day. And I don't work as hard as I used to. I'm 69 now. I'm going to be 70 in another year and a few months. So, I don't grind as hard as I used to. I enjoy life a little bit more. But I do something every day still. Okay? And you know what? This is work. It's not play. It's not part-time. It's not, I've talked to 10 people and they didn't like it. This doesn't work. Trust me, before I found that fellow in 1999, or 2001, I would say, I went through a lot of cold calling, talking to a lot of people. You learn a lot. You get better. You get really good at it. The more you do, and the more people you talk to, the harder you work, you're going to have luck. Trust me. You're going to have luck. But you never quit. Okay, it can get tough. Some days are hard. Some days you just say, yeah, you know, and I do it too. I don't want a cold call today. Well, if those are the days you don't want to, don't do it. Do it tomorrow. Okay. And so even in the summer, when I want to enjoy the weather, I still work. And what I try to do, is I try to do my calls in the morning, get my few calls, get my few connections, get the people I've made contact with ready to send a card. And then in the afternoon, I go and enjoy the beach or go and do what I want to do, enjoy my grandkids and play. But I get the work out of the way, get the work done. Okay, and then you can play. Okay, and in the beginning of your business, you get the work done. You're going to be able to play in 5 years, whatever, how many years it's going to take you. Okay, it may take you 2 years, it may take you 6 months. Nobody can tell you that. Nobody can tell you how much money you're going to make because we don't know the work you're going to do. Okay. So when I wake up in the morning, when it's dark and it's not quite light yet and there's no TV on and nobody talking to me, no noise, that's when I think, what's my plan for the day? And I get creative, and I can get much more creative when I can think and know it, no distraction. And so that's when I plan of what I'm going to do or what I want to share. And sometimes it's thinking about my family, or it could be other things. But if I'm focused on work, then that's when I plan, and that's when I decide to be creative. And you have to be creative in this business. You can do so many things in this business. You know, get out of your house, go to the mall, go and sit on a bench beside somebody. You see somebody sitting on a bench, you sit there. If they look like somebody you might want to talk to, sit there, chat them up. Make some silly comment. I say, wow, the mall's busy today. You know, it's really busy. And, you know, I don't know what I'm doing in the mall today when I could come here any day. You know, they might think, oh, she can come any day. I've got that freedom, right? So one thing leads to another, you know. When you have a conversation, they will tell you things. Talk them up. You can get to the point and say, well, what do you do? Are you retired or what do you do? And they're going to get to what you do, and you're on a roll. You got it. You don't puke all over them. You just have a conversation. Just keep it slow, keep it gentle. Just go with it. Okay? It's really cool. And you listen to what people are saying. I remember not so long ago sitting in a coffee shop, and there's some ladies sitting beside me. Perfect this time of year. Go sit around people. They're all talking about how they're sending their Christmas cards, especially the ladies. And these two ladies were saying, you know, gosh, I got to get my cards out, you know, and blah, blah, blah. And so you're listening to this and you think, there's my cue. So you don't jump right in. You know, you take a breath and have a sip of coffee and say, you know, and I reach over and say, you know, I just heard you, ladies. I just noticed you were talking. I couldn't help overhear you talking about doing your Christmas cards. So do you have a lot to send out? And so they'll talk to you, and they were going to wonder why you're asking them that. But you can say, well, look, you know, I've got a program that I've been using for 7 years, and maybe you'd like to hear about it. It's easy. It's 62 cents a card plus stamp, but I don't have to go and handle them or buy them. It's all done from my computer. And then they're thinking, okay, it's an e-card, but you keep going and say no, and the company prints seal stamps, and they put it in an envelope. You might have one in your purse. Pull it out and show them. Say, this is the kind of card you can send. Excuse me. Cards with pictures, they're keepsakes. They're not just a regular Christmas card, but the cost is so wonderful, and the work, you can send to 100 people in a minute. You know, would you like to take a look at it? You know, if you give me your phone number, or here's my card, give me your phone number and your name, and I'll give you a call. And, you know, I can show you how it works. I can walk you through and let you try it out and send a card. And you'd be quite amazed. You'll find you'll never use anything again. You'll use this just like I have, right? Those kind of things. Keep your ears open. Listen to what people are saying. You know, if you're standing in a card line sometimes I do it, not because I'm interested in buying cards. I'm just browsing through cards for fun of it, hoping somebody will get close to me. Have fun doing your business. It's fun, but it's work. Don't kid yourself. It's work. And what you do today is going to pay you so wonderfully later, like it has for us. You know, so I just want to share that with you, and I really would love you to have the success I'm doing. If you ever want to talk, give me a call, 250-729-9866. Have a great day. Get the work done. You'll be happy you did. Take care. Bye.